in Tamale. This is a happy birthday from your good friend Jonathan Syme of the ADB. If it's your birthday as well, happy birthday to you. Stephen Yeboah is joining us on the telephone now. We told you earlier that some commercial drivers have decided to embark on a sit-down strike because the arrangements and agreement that they had with government to take off some taxes from petroleum products or off petroleum products have not been heeded too. They didn't hear anything in the budget, and so they're up in arms with government. This morning, Stephen has been monitoring the situation from the Pokwa Sierra and joins us now. Stephen, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning, Johnny.
What can you share?
Johnny, the situation here this morning is very, very bad. I had the report early around 4:30 that most of the workers and market women who are going to Accra for their daily bread are stranded, and for that matter, they are not having cars to patronize from Amasaman to Circle and Accra environment. And I managed to come out. The situation was very, very bad. This morning, as I was leaving Amasaman, I got to Pokwa. The situation was the same thing. Nothing has changed. A lot of workers are stranded. More people are getting themselves to go to work, but the cars here are not much. It's just by the intervention of a good man who happens to give me a lift from Fishy, where I live, to Circle right now. Right now, I'm heading towards John Tay, and the situation also is the same. Heavy traffic on the road. It's only the private cars who are only plying from the main road to Accra this morning. In fact, Johnny, if I should tell you what is going on this morning, it's very an eyesore. All because I managed to talk to one mate because I was in a hurry to the office. I managed to have a little chat with one of the mates who happened to tell me that they had a report that from today, as at 5 a.m., no car should move, all because they want the government to listen to what they are saying on the fuel. And since 5 o'clock that I had this chat with the mate, most of the cars are not in town. And he also told me that from Circle, the situation happens at Circle, where they happen to be the mother branch of their union.
Right.
And for that matter, no cars is moving as they are insisting that the government to listen to them. So, Johnny, if you hear me this morning, this is what I can report to you from Thomas Strait.
I hear you. Now, so there would usually be heavy traffic around that stretch. Has anything changed because of the strike?
Not really much. It's like, as I said earlier, it's only the private cars who are using the main road and the road this morning. But I'm happy to see the trotro. The trotro are not much. That's what I can report to you. But I don't know where they are coming from, either from Istanbul to Accra or other areas they are using the main road this morning.
Stephen, I thank you very much indeed for your time. And that's my colleague Stephen Yeboah. He's an editor. Usually he doesn't report, but we're making use of all the resources we can find this morning to share with you the situation. Lord Edward Sare is out there as well. Mawena Agbeta, they are all out there. Ibrahim Abubakar, Evans Inkom. And when we travel along the program, we'll bring you the actuality on the ground. The BNFT this morning says, let's deal with waste in a sustainable, timeless manner. Dr. Sian Agyapong urges world leaders. Also, high tariffs, cost of credit, top business concerns in first half. Land ownership impeding youth from cocoa farming. As 65% of gold lands belong to those aged between 50 and 65. And will accept e-levy at 1% with 300 Ghana cedis threshold. That's a minority there. The Ghanaian Times this morning reports that MPC urges consensus building in Parliament to resolve 2022 budget impasse. Also, deal with waste management in sustainable, timely manner. Dr. Agyapong urges world leaders. Also, 6 perish, others injured in a gory accident at Sege. And COVID-19 Omicron variant travel ban. President raps global community for targeting African countries. The Finder newspaper. 1% e-levy, 300 Ghana cedis free transplant acceptable. Haruna Idrisu is the minority leader. Parliament commits to resolve 2022 budget impasse. Peace Council. Also, Chief of Staff calls for national dialogue on social protection financing. A good call. My government's record in agriculture, impressive. Thanks to productivity improvement initiative, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo starting his own achievements there. The Daily Statesman, Ghana Gas not connected to Ashanti region power challenges. Also, our record is remarkable. Akufo-Addo touts government's performance in the agri sector at a Disadel College Farmers Day last Friday. Majority leader 1% e-levy is acceptable. Transport operators asked to reject sit-down strike rumors. Well, I think it's the evidence is on the ground to show this morning. The Republic Press is a final one and said we must unite to fight this e-robbery called e-levy. Okujeto Ablakwa, Inspector General of Police and his team joined cocoa farmers on Farmers Day. And Ashanti Region Police gunned down one suspected armed robber, 3 others arrested. Also, big banner headline, Afenyo Marking exposes NDC over fake stance on e-levy. Akufo-Addo, Cyril Ramaphosa condemned travel ban on African countries over Omicron variant, and Akufo-Addo is African of the Year. Joining me in studio is Alhaji Alassane Suhuyini, is the Member of Parliament for Tamale North constituency. He's here on the ticket of the NDC. To join us soon will be Mr. Richard Nyama, who has a bit of an emergency, but he has indicated that he's on his way to join us on the ticket of the NPP. Alhaji, good morning. Assalam.
Walaikum salam. Good morning, bro. Hope you are well.
I'm alive and well.
Great, thank God.
Great. Let's begin from Parliament. Is there confusion as to the minority's position on e-levy? Because your leader in a video had indicated that 1% is acceptable. It used to be a position of 500 Ghana cedis threshold, then he moved to 300. I've seen another letter signed by Honorable Muntaka Mubarak, a statement suggesting that the concessions you expected the government to make have not been made, and so you stick with your old position. Where are we?
Johnny, good morning once again. Good morning to our viewers and to the very good people of the Tamale North constituency. To answer your first question, there's absolutely no confusion.
Okay. Hold on a bit for me. I'm told Ibrahim Abubakar is joining us from the Ashanti region. Ibrahim, assalamu alaikum. Hello, Ibra. Hello, Ibra. Sorry about that. Well, let's try and work the phone lines again. Sorry. So you say there's no confusion?
There's absolutely no confusion on the minority side. We are committed to ensuring that everything in this budget that will lead to more hardship, that will contribute to higher corruption, and that will also support wastage will be prevented.
Okay.
As a caucus, we have had a couple of meetings. We continue to meet to strategize on how to push forward the agenda of representing the very good people of Ghana who expect so much from us. Clearly, as a minority at our meetings, a number of issues are usually discussed.
Okay.
And it is correct that at some point we looked at the frightening nature of the economy as a result of the reckless management of this government. And there was a consideration that, but for the hardship that people are already going through, but for the waste that we already see this government engage in relation to revenue that has come to them. For example, in oil alone, they are having to get almost 3 times previous governments got. 20 billion Ghana cedis coming to them annually, when previous governments just had 4 billion. They have unprecedentedly borrowed compared to any other government in our history.
For our own good.
And yet they have not used all that have come to them to the benefit of the people of Ghana. So we have considered all of this and at some point at our meetings and thought that, look, yes, the economy is in dire straits. The government is in a big big mess as a result of their own recklessness. And so if we didn't have as much hardship that we have in the country, if we didn't have them showing no sign of taming their appetite, but showing a lot of extravagance, we could perhaps consider options of getting the Ghanaians to support, in coming out of that hole. So yes, there have been a number of considerations. There have been a number of simulations, but we have
because government has explained to you that, look,
we have been clear in our mind.
We need this money to be able to deliver the public good, the things that you are asking us to do, roads, reduce fuel prices. Blah. We need money at some point to achieve those. You can't be asking for things to be done and then you say don't collect taxes. E-levy, for example.
We agree that a lot of things have to be done and those things will require money. But we also have evidence and examples of how they have gotten so much already in the last 4 to 5 years. The communication service tax alone was promised to create so many jobs. We don't know how many it has created so far. And yet, the argument again for the e-levy is that this is now also going to create jobs. I mean, how can you convince the average person who over the years has contributed through the communication tax but remains unemployed, that when he pays an e-levy, he will now get a job? Again, like I indicated, in the last 4 years, but is that correct? But in the last 4 years, Johnny, I'm saying that this government has, had more revenue than any other government in our history. They have had more revenue than any other government in our history. The record is there that they have borrowed more than any other government. They also had, through the hard work of the previous government, a lot of things, going their way by way of increasing revenue for them. Yet what we see is that those monies are simply wasted on very, very, unimportant things like chartering or renting, private jets at exorbitant rates and not giving a damn, to even explain anything to us. And the waste is seen even in the Auditor General's report this year. Go check it. Over 12 billion just misapplied and misappropriated. And that doesn't give anybody the assurance that if they get more, they will do any better.
Okay, well, Ibrahim Abubakar is joining us now. Ibrahim, thank you very much. Assalam.
Walaikum salam, Johnny.
What is the situation in the Ashanti region, especially where you are? Is the sit-down strike from the transport operators biting like it's doing here in Accra?
Well, Johnny, the situation is very different here in Kumasi. In fact, before I even get to work, I went to about 4 different lorry terminals. And I was shocked to see them, vehicles lined up waiting for passengers to board. I went there to inquire from them why they are not participating in the strike, and most of them told me they are not aware. Others also boldly told me that for them, they are just doing what they call work and pay, and for that matter, they cannot risk being home for the entire day and not be able to deliver sales for their vehicle owners. They don't own the vehicles, they have owners who are expecting that at the end of the day, they provide them with their sales. So they have to come to work and load passengers. So the impact is not being felt here, with the exception of some few places. In fact, a friend of mine called me in the morning that around Moshizongo, initially when he went to the lorry terminal, the vehicles were parked there and the drivers told them they are not working. But because most of the drivers are picking passengers, it has defeated the purpose of the strike action, and it has even compelled others who had wanted to join the strike to also pick their vehicles and start working. Because for them, if the intended purpose is not achieved, people are still getting vehicles to go to their various workplaces and to the market centers, then there is no doubt, or there isn't much of a concern for them to also leave their vehicles behind and come to work. So the situation is quite different here in Kumasi as compared to what we have seen in the likes of La Paz and other places in Accra.
What do you say to the school of thought that, well, the drivers could be lifting the people to town, and then when the strike kicks in, they may decide to abandon them later at rush hour in the evening?
Well, Johnny, it's also possible, because in fact, this morning when we even spoke to some of the leadership of the driver unions, that's what they made us to understand. We told them that, well, your members are working, even though issue statements that effective today, they shouldn't work. And they told us that possibly it's one of the strategies. It's possible they are taking people to their workplaces, to the towns, and later in the day, they will activate their strike, and people will be stranded maybe in the evening. So until we get to that point, we wouldn't be able to confirm whether that is possible or not. But it is likely to happen. But as I speak to you now, the driver unions are even divided. In fact, this morning we spoke to 2 different unions. Others are saying they are telling their members not to work. Other group union or driver union are also saying no, they cannot be forced to sit down and be told not to work. So everybody is fighting for himself, because for them, if they do not move out and work, then it means they are not getting top money for their family. So even though they also have their concerns about the increasing prices in fuel, they are worried. They want government to do something about it.
I hear you.
But they cannot sit idle and
let's wrap up
say
here.
They are not working until government take out all the nuisance taxes on the petroleum.
We'll come to you, Ibra, for a fuller version of the report, but grateful, and you stay safe out there. Alhaji, so this is the situation in Accra. The drivers are abiding by the strike in the Ashanti region, as Ibra has just told us. They say they are not aware. I don't know what you say, but it is also one of the demands that you have made, that fuel prices, for example, be reduced. The drivers have gone into about 2 or 3 conclave meetings with the transport minister, the energy minister, and the last time it was the deputies of the finance minister and the transport minister, before they decided to embark on this one. Their cases are clear, that take off 5 taxes from fuel prices so that the prices can reduce. Government assured them, and then the budget was read. There was nothing in there. Now they are making good their threat to go on strike. What do you say?
You see, Johnny, the intransigence, that is, if I don't want to use the word arrogance, of this government.
They are synonyms.
It's not helping at all, especially in these very tough times. You recall that the Guta also, had expectations and got some assurances before the budget was read in relation to the benchmark. The benchmark values.
41
yes. I mean, which is also one of our demands as a minority. They got assurances but got disappointed, at the end of the day. Then you have the GPRTU, who also, had some concerns before the budget was raised, had a number of meetings, and they were hopeful that the budget will address their concerns. Again, they also didn't get any respectful or satisfactory response whatsoever, after the budget was read. And ever since, I don't think any meaningful engagement has actually, taken place to assure them that their concerns will be addressed. And there are many, many other, unions that are unhappy with the level of engagement that they get when they express concerns from this government. I mean, the level of engagement they get from this government when they express concerns. It seems as if people in government are just nonchalant. They have made up their minds about what they want to do, and they don't really care. Perhaps sometimes because they, many of them, don't see their future in either a third or fourth term, God forbid, of an NPP administration. So they don't seem to care at all, and the arrogance has just, skyrocketed. Because look, this issue of fuel pricing has been on the table for a very long time now. All the arguments for the reduction are clear to the average mind
but
to
I
understand.
thought that earlier this year, in a crunch meeting, the minister, I think 9% or so was taking off. The
Seriously?
MPA has also given an indication that the presidency had given blessing for some 16% to be taken off. It will come before Parliament.
Hasn't yet.
So there
But the point,
in
Johnny,
works.
those are not significant changes.
What
and
would you want to
people
see?
have made those arguments that there are a number of taxes that have outlived their usefulness on the,
For example,
the price stabilization levy that was introduced when oil, when crude prices, plummeted. I mean, if you budgeted crude price around 56, and then all of a sudden it went to 30, you obviously needed some cushioning to not throw your budget, off gear. So such a tax was introduced so that it could take care of the imbalance that the price plummeting was going to create. Now, it has outlived. Those are the prices. I mean, those are the taxes that have completely outlived their usefulness. As we sit today, crude is, and it is coming down. I mean, it was around $80. Now it's around $60 a barrel. It's coming down. So what basis does the government have to maintain a very intransigent position of not significantly reducing the fuel prices so that they can even provide comfort for the people who are already so burdened after the trials that we have all gone through as a result of COVID. In other jurisdictions, you have examples of governments actually doing everything possible to revive their economies and to support their citizens because of the high cost of living as a result of the world recovering from COVID.
Okay.
But in our case, taxes upon taxes are slapped, from sanitation tax to e-levy, and all manner of taxes are still slapped on us because clearly our government was too reckless in managing our finances.
I hear you. Thank you.
Under COVID.
Richard Nyama has joined me here. He's a Deputy National Communications Director of the NPP. He's also special aide to Chairman Freddie Blay. Rich, welcome. How are you doing? Sorry about your emergency this morning.
Thank you.
Forgive nature.
No. This one is not a natural one.
And forgive your car too.
Yes. Let me say good morning to your viewers and my brother Soyini. It's been a while.
Richard, been a long time.
And your good self, my brother.
Thank you.
Let me use the opportunity to apologize for coming in late. Like I informed you, I had an emergency on the motorway and I turned up late. So basically, that's the reason.
Right.
This issue about the demonstration, number one, is everyone's right to express their opinions in whatever form they feel they should. And I'm sure in the end, they will put up a petition and reasons why. I've read elsewhere about certain aspects, and I hope that is not true. That if fact that some of the unions are preventing others from working, so
That's
that
right.
because you want to go on demonstration, anyone who's a commercial driver is not allowed to operate. That is also not on, and I will urge them to desist from that. It should be a voluntary thing. Nobody should be forced to demonstrate if they don't feel like it. If they think they can go and work and make ends meet, why not? It's a legitimate concern, and let's not pretend about it. But I thought I've seen at the pump some reduction, haven't they? Because
I've seen
yes,
six CDs, 60 pesos.
there's about 14 pesos reduction already. At least I've seen some. I've gone to buy
80,
some.
80,
Yes, about 14 pesos already has been slapped off. And so I don't know where their concerns come in now with all that, or have they taken into cognizance that aspect?
So,
because
they asked for 5 taxes to be taken off. They went into a meeting with Kwekwe Siama, Minister for Transport, and I think the Energy Minister. Subsequent, the last meeting they had was the Deputy for Finance and the Deputy for Transport.
Yes.
They couldn't reach an agreement
Yes.
because they had been promised that it would show in the budget,
Yes.
but they didn't hear anything. So they are deciding
those
to go on
aspects
strike.
being taken off will show in the budget.
They want it to be announced, to be
Yes.
made official.
Okay.
But the strike is in Accra, largely. We checked from Ashanti region, and they say they have no information of any strike. So they are working.
They are working. So, number one, this revelation actually defeats the argument my brother is making about the government not consulting and engaging. Because from what you've said, they've had prior engagements with government. They haven't had what they necessarily want.
I didn't say there was no engagement.
No, but you came to this safe conclusion that we don't care.
I said the nature of engagement.
The nature.
How they engage.
That one is judgmental.
Yeah, that's what I said. But yes,
it's a value judgment.
But quote me well.
Okay, so no, that's fine.
It's a value judgment.
Okay, yes, that's fine. So the point is that that one is an opinion you can largely express, that the way it's been done, you may have done it differently. But the import out there is that we are not engaging. Even on the floor of Parliament, that was what you guys purported to tell Ghanaians, that we haven't consulted with you, we haven't engaged you, we are forcing the budget down the throats of people. Now we get to the nitty-gritties of it, and revelations are now coming on how engagements were done, meetings were held, and because of some kind of mob rule that is taking place within the NDC structure, leadership is even afraid to do any further engagement for fear of their heads, that the mob will take them on. And it's been going on. Okay? You remember some time back, Sami Jenfi and the party accused leadership of the NDC and minority for virtually even the speaker, of sleeping with the government. They expect that the minority in parliament will become an obstacle to governance to prove that, yes, they have arrived. We have a split or hung parliament. It doesn't work that way. Now, what do you achieve if you throw the budget out, if it doesn't work? Point is that
they want you to make concessions.
Yes, and concessions are being made. Concessions are being made. The e-levy you're talking about, yeah, it started at 1.75. They've now considered, okay, we'll bring it to 1.5.
So says no, they have not agreed to anything.
Their leader, the minority leader, says he will be comfortable with 1%.
1%.
That is a misreport. You were not here when I
said. Okay, so allow
whichever way it is, okay, it's out there. He should officially say that he didn't say that.
He has.
Has he?
Yes.
Okay, if he didn't say that, that is fine. Point is this. I remember.
He didn't mean that.
He didn't
mean the way it is reported.
Oh,
but I'll come back to it. No,
so he said something, but he didn't mean what
how it is reported. Yes.
There you go. Comes to value judgment. So we are entitled to our opinions. But from what I heard, that is the import. That something around 1% is...
And the 300 Ghana cedis threshold. It used to be 500. And then
there you go. There you go. And I have been thinking, trying to think outside the box. And I remember asking this question about a week or two ago. This same platform.
Right.
That we are comfortable with the telcos taking 2% on every cedi. Right? Nobody's complaining. MTN is a South African company. Ask yourself, how much are they making on Momo transfer? They repatriate it in dollars back to South Africa.
But they give you your share. They give you your share as income tax.
Please. I am saying that Momo alone, how much they make on Momo alone, when you and I do the transfer, on every 100 cedis, MTN takes 2 cedis.
Let's tone down on the names of the companies.
Oh, please.
So,
I am giving an example. I want to give a practical example
Okay.
to sink in the person's head.
So we
If
disassociate
the companies,
ourselves- we
yes,
disassociate
disassociate yourself.
ourselves from it.
At the end of the day, point is this: they are making huge sums that nobody is questioning.
But
you
they
and
pay
I
you taxes
Oh,
from what they
please.
make, don't they?
Johnny, do you want to make the point for me?
No, I'm not. I'm asking
So
you a
please,
question.
are we paying taxes to government? So why are we paying more tax? If that is the case we are making, I'm saying that company or those companies, okay, make 2% on every 100 cedis, right? 2 cedis. We are not complaining. MTN does not provide you water. It doesn't provide you electricity. It doesn't provide you health care. You are comfortable with it. The government says that the way things are going, we are restructuring and re-engineering this country to reposition it, to make sure that we are able to provide our roads without going for loans. We are able to give youth an opportunity to start their own businesses out of this. Okay? Then, all of a sudden, we have a problem with that because it's government. Okay? And there's a thinking in the Ghanaian, there's a psyche that is worrying in the Ghanaian. You come to this same telecom sector. These particular companies used to, when this Kelly GVG matter came back, and I'm taking you back to history so that we'll do the comparative analysis. We had issues with government taking certain data, and we are afraid that they're going to spy on us. Per my position and where I had worked in the telecom industry, and that was what I was responsible for, that particular unit I headed. We were collecting that same data for private companies, American Towers and Huawei, foreign companies. We Ghanaians were not afraid to give that to them. But immediately government says, yeah, we want this information to see how much these companies are making. We have a problem with it, and we took it to town. I'm saying that if the government is saying we need 1 cedi 50 pesos on every 200 cedis, Haruna wants it to be 300 cedis. Government wants it to be 200 cedis. Somebody is taking it on every 100 cedis. They are not providing you anything.
They are providing a service and a platform.
The platform they are providing, do you know that rural telephony, most of the telephone infrastructure in this country, 80% or above, was and is being sponsored and paid for by government. So why do you think that government should not benefit from it?
But they are legitimate business.
They are legitimate
they
business.
Their taxes. They are making money.
You're not getting the point I'm making to you. I'm
legitimately.
saying that if we are prepared as Ghanaians to give MTN 2 cedis on every 100 cedis, and we are not prepared to give government 1 cedi 50 pesos on every 200 cedis, how patriotic are we? This is a private company taking the money
But
to
I'm
this country.
saying that of every 200, of every 2 cedis that they charge you, you as government get your share of that, don't you?
We get our share of what? What is the share of it that we are
I
getting?
don't know, but you get something.
So tell me, since you know, tell me, because I don't.
Okay. So for every deduction that's made from the telcos,
I am
for
saying
mobile,
that I don't know.
government doesn't get anything.
I don't know. They whatever charges comes on their profit. And I'm saying that you, as the ordinary Ghanaian, if you are prepared to give 2 cedis to MTN for every 100 cedis, they don't provide you water, electricity, health, nothing. And you are prepared and not prepared to give 1 cedi 50 pesos for the government to build your roads and give youth work. While we are crying about there not being work in this country and government is being innovative. Look, the public sector is a bit choked. Let's provide you funding to start your own ventures. We have issues with this. Why is the NDC not raising the point that maybe, considering the idea that all this is good in the end, probably let's talk to the telcos to reduce their 2% to 1% and let government be able to do what they are doing. Why aren't we having such conversations in the interest of Ghana? We are ready for private companies to make it at the detriment of government. Private companies can make that money, but when government is coming to take that part of it, we have a problem with it.
They are not the first private company to be making money.
Johnny, you see...
Are we serious?
I thought he was done.
The point is this. I have given you the first scenario where it seems we have an attitude towards government, we are hostile towards government when it comes to these things, and yet we are okay when someone else is doing
but
it.
you see, Richard, then the conversation is this. For example, the Auditor General's report showed how we mismanaged 12 billion. If you are collecting my taxes and I can't see evidence, because a key component of tax compliance is evidence of what is being used for.
So what I would want
so that if you keep collecting from me and I see dissipation of the funds, I'm not seeing evidence. When you ask me to pay, I'll be adamant.
Good point, and I agree with you 100%. We should go to town with that. So I would rather we have the conversation that, look, government, so far the taxes you've taken, we are not very happy or appreciative of the evidence you have given us of the usage of those monies. Give us assurance, spell out 1, 2, 3 steps that X amount that you are taking for the roads and then the venture
you'd start, right?
Yes, the you start thing is not going to, because we've had the experience, and I, for instance, have had to go to court in the past to force government to pay statutory payments to the various institutions. It's not with this government alone. Across board, when they get into trouble, they dip their hands into funds that they should not dip their hands to. So let's secure these funds. We are going to try this. Let's secure the funds and make sure that you have no right whatsoever to use it for anything else but for roads, you start, and the third as part that I've forgotten. Then we are being developmental inclined. But when we say that, no, nothing is what and all that, and so we will not agree. Point is that in your sober moments, ask yourself, is it okay for you to pay 2 cedis to the telcos and not pay 1 cedi 50% to the government? And in their case, let's even put it well. On the 200 cedis that you'll be transferring, the telcos are making 4 cedis. Your government is making 1.5.
I think it's 1 cedi per 100 or so.
No. When you send 100 cedis, they take 1 cedi. The person receiving it takes also pays 1 cedi. That's how much? Is that not 2? When you do 200, is that not 4 cedis? It's on 200 that government is taking 1 cedi 50%. You say we won't understand.
But their service that they provide is regulated. I mean, Momo now is considered like a bank.
Yes.
It's under the Bank of Ghana.
Yes.
So these are proposed at the Bank of Ghana, the NCA, all of them can come together to make.
Which proposal?
I mean, a proposal, if you say what they are charging as telcos is too much, and that people don't have a problem with that, but if government is asking, then they are asking questions.
That is the conversation I want us to have on this table.
Then you regulate them so that you are also able to regulate them.
There is a trickery when it comes to government's interference in these things, because they are, like you said, private company. But we, the customers, the beneficiaries, when we start saying that, no, we understand and agree that government should make some money, but we think that the telcos are making too much, and so they should come down at this point in time. For government to be able to recoup something to do developmental projects for us, we can have that debate.
But the government is there for the people.
When the government decides to call for MCA meeting with all these telcos, you see that hell will break loose in this country.
I hear you.
But if you and I start the conversation at this table, that look, as customers, as consumers, we think it is not right for the telcos to take 4 cedis on every 200, when we are not ready to give government 1 cedi 50% on the same 200. They should take off 2 cedis and allow government to have it.
So Johnny, if
and then we'll be making headway.
I think that, please, just a quick one. If he thinks that the telecoms are making so much, why doesn't he advise the government to tax the telecoms more?
I just said
Why is he saying that the telecoms should be allowed to make that more, but we, the people, should contribute to government?
So government gets its share of whatever is taxed the telecoms.
Yes, so but they can increase those taxes. But I'm saying that, Johnny, you made a very good point about utilization. Communication service tax is also on the same network.
For cyber fraud
since it was introduced, the government of Ghana has raked in 2.3 billion Ghana cedis from communication service tax. Is it not time that they convince us how that has contributed to unemployment in this country, because that was the purpose. How it has contributed to yes. Communication service tax was introduced under
cyber fraud.
Yes, and cyber fraud.
Let us. And how it
contributed
to unemployment?
No.
I mean, to reducing unemployment. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
How it contributed to reducing unemployment in this country, because that was the purpose of that tax. Again, cyber fraud and all that. We're told it will be used to deal with it. It's the same song we are hearing with this e-levy. And Johnny, to compare what MTN gets to what government is trying to get, it's just like comparing apples and oranges. Look, MTN is running a service. So instead of me getting up this morning and going all the way to Medina to give money to my sister there, the risk involved on the road, the fuel I will consume, MTN provides a service. And so they take a service charge. Now, if government thinks that you have made the infrastructure available for them to, build upon to provide that service, tax them. Tax them all. But when you take my communication service tax, and over the period, I know you have gained over 2.93 billion Ghana cedis, and yet I have nothing to show. You don't come back to me and say I should pay more and allow these companies that you say are making so much to continue to make so much.
I hear you. Let's bring it.
So there is a way. Again,
you have nothing to show.
Again,
go into the rural area and see rural telephony expansion. I will give you a few examples.
The charge on MTN is capped.
Let's not keep the lady waiting.
This is not capped.
Cookie, welcome.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'll just get to the messages quickly.
Please do.
First one says, good morning to you and your panelists. Drivers' unions embarking on a strike is not something we have to entertain or embrace in any way. I think the authorities must call the leadership of the union to resolve the issues to restore calm. Aaron Babako Kokomisa from Latebioko, she sent in that one. Now, Musa Abatwan Kumasi says, Johnny, frankly speaking, as Honorable Suini said, there's confusion everywhere. Anybody who supports this killer e-levy has no sympathy for ordinary Ghanaians who is struggling to put food on the table. In fact, the Bawumia tax budget must be scrapped. I've never seen a government who's insensitive like Akufo-Addo and Bawumia's government. The businesses are suffering and you are increasing taxes to collapse them. My regards to lawyer Evans Amankwa. Good morning, Johnny and your panelists. The minority in parliament is the only redeemer of Ghanaians. We expect them to do the needful by rejecting this budget, and this is not a reflection of the people. The 1% draconian e-levy is not in the interest of citizens. As for Joe Wise, the least said, the better. Ejasuma from WA. Now, good morning. Can Nanado or Bawumia tell Ghanaians when they are moving from taxation into production? If they think it's wrong for Ghanaians to know how the taxes they pay are used, then they have no right to ask us to pay any. Rahiz Welbeck from Kokomlimle sent in that one. Good morning, Johnny. I urge Honorable Alassane Tuini and the minority to demand accountability of the president's travels before the budget of the presidency is approved at the committee level. Mohammed from Tamale sent that one. Next one from Walter in Laboni says, I hope this mess being created by the government is enough lesson for all of us not to fall for their cheap tricks going forward. They are sucking the very lives out of us now, so that between March and December 2024, they will come back with mouth-watering initiatives and promises just so that we vote for them again. Unfortunately, the masses would fall for their usual gimmicks. This one says that the NDC must rise up and reject all the stated positions in the budget. Besides, Speaker Bagwin must come back and exercise his authority in the House. Osman Bukrisong in Tamale sent in that one. Johnny, this one is for you. He says, Baba Zamo says that the way you were pointing at him and asking, what is your scorecard with your pen pointing at him on screen is very unfair. He added some laughter and he says, congratulations for working harder to move from third position to first. God bless you. Good morning. The government must explain to us why they put sanitation tax on fuel. What is the money used for? Why pollution tax? And what is it used for? So he is just basically asking questions. Last one says, Johnny, good morning. Sometimes I look at the taxes on my payslip and I wonder what is preventing Ghana from developing. But for those who think they are against the government, just leave them. There are some people who would defend and support political parties even if hunger is killing them. Johnny?
Okay, thank you. Bernard Bona sent this one to me. It says, Justice for Ghana, that's the organization. It says, Yen to me Ahotre demonstration. And it's on the 8th of December 2021, 7 a.m. It says, Obra Sport at the Nkrumah Circle. So,
my brother Mona, professional demonstration.
Yen to me, no, wait, this one is Yen to me Ahotre demonstration.
Okay.
Anyway, a few messages. I'll let you. Oh, he's listening to you. He's watching you now. So,
my brother Mona, take it easy on yourself. I thought he had retired.
I'm sure you will join.
He has not retired. Okay, so somebody says, correct, Richard. MTN doesn't charge 2 Ghana cedis on 100 Ghana cedis transfer. It's false. It's one cedi. Now, another says, John says, so government wants to tax me 1.75 Ghana cedis for e-transactions, and we'll still go back to the telcos, etc., to take their share of their 1 cedi they take to ABBA. It says, okay, now another says, double track e-levy. The telcos pay taxes to you, the government of Ghana, and take tax as the consumers as well. So you're taking the existing, are you taking the existing taxes off to introduce this one, or you're adding it? Hannah and Intema. We're already burdened with 2 cedis now, an additional 1.75 to make it 3.75 on just one transaction. That's too much for the ordinary Ghanaian. Good morning. It says, Richard has sounded very provocative this morning. MTN charges 1 Ghana cedis on every 100 Ghana cedis, not 2 cedis as he claims. Government wants to charge 1.75% on every 100 Ghana cedis. If the NPP government really cares about getting money from telcos, they wouldn't have sold Ghana Telecom, now Vodafone. If he thinks the telcos are getting too much money, why don't they sit with the telcos to review their taxes? Is it my fault that the telcos are making too much money so that I will have to bear the slap of taxation? Why is Richard blaming Ghanaians on this e-levy stuff? Are we not already paying other taxes? That's what he says there. Johnny. Let me borrow 3 minutes. I'm coming.
No, he has quoted me. I'm saying that if you send 100 cedis, you the sender, you pay 1 cedi.
That's right.
The receiver also takes one cedi is taken off. No. If you don't want the receiver to lose the 1 cedi, you pay everything. That is what is done. Maybe you haven't been doing it. That is what happens.
Is that the whole value chain, including Momo agents and everybody, benefit 1% of your transaction. 1%. They all share that 1%. Again, look, Johnny,
you are listening
even Vodafone. Vodafone is even zero.
That is the reason.
Do you understand?
If Vodafone can do zero rated,
but I'm
why
telling you that the whole value chain on MTN Momo is just 1%.
Why is
from the 1%?
Vodafone able to do it, and then MTN cannot do it?
Before you went to Kukiti, I was telling you that MTN's own is also capped. So beyond a certain figure, you pay 10 Ghana cedis. Okay. You know, it doesn't matter how much you transfer.
It's not
so
true.
It is capped.
Now
on the issue,
challenge this.
On the issue,
send
on the issue of
10,000
the
cedis
minority,
to anybody.
John,
you would end up paying 100 cedis. That is the point. I'm telling you. You will pay 100 cedis. I do it.
I don't have 10,000.
I use that platform, and I'm saying that you send 5,000, you pay 50 Ghana. The person receiving will pay 50 Ghana. That is what happens.
I don't have that much money.
MTN should challenge me, and I'll give them proof.
Okay, it depends on the platform you use. But Johnny, I was just saying that you see the minority.
Somebody asked the question. It says, "Why are you trying so hard to defend Haruna?"
No. That's not. Listen, I'm saying that, Johnny. I'm saying that. You see the statement that you referred to that has been signed by Muntaka. I can tell you with all the authority that I have that it was written by, the minority leader and the chief whip with support from other communicators of the party. So clearly, what is signed by Honorable Muntaka is the position of the minority. And I told you that a number of simulations were done because as a minority, we don't fear to negotiate. we don't fear to negotiate because
but it looks
we
like
keep
now
an open
they're keeping a very
mind.
back
So what
They're not keeping a hard stance. They are not. What I said was that
the minority leader was simply communicating.
It's a mob rule now in the NDC.
He was simply communicating what we discuss, at our caucus meetings. But for the hardship that Ghanaians are already going through, but for the unaccountable, taxes that people have already paid, and but for the waste that we see in the system, it wouldn't have been a bad idea to consider supporting the government to come out of the hole that they have put us in.
Yes, Richard.
Haruna wonders on the floor of Parliament that they are not going into any caucus meetings with the majority so that nobody will come and accuse them of being in bed with the government. I'm saying that he told us that things are out of their hands. Somebody else determines what they do or
Where
say.
did he say that?
So, on the floor of Parliament.
That is completely false.
Haruna said that.
Johnny,
Let us do the discussions here. On the day the Parliament was being voted on, the one you voted on Friday.
And he said somebody in
said
some way
that so that they don't come and say that we have had
because the finance minister,
that is the
finance minister,
it has not come out that
town and said that he had a way of engaging the minority. And so therefore, he was told
holding you people by the balls and not allowing you to breathe.
Thank you.
So even though you agree with the budget,
Richard Nyama,
not allow the budget.
Richard Nyama is a former, is a special aide to Chairman Freddie Blay, and he's also a National Deputy Director of Communications of the NPP. Alasan Suhuyini is the Member of Parliament for the Tamale North constituency, and he was here on the ticket of the NDC. Gentlemen, thank you very much indeed. Your microphones have been off since the last minute. We'll see you after the break.